Welcome to part 13 of the Edward Art Supply Hand series. This part is titled No Permission Needed. A full link to the written post by Edward will be in the comments as well as his channel, so definitely check it out. And if you like content like this, please like and subscribe for more. Part 13, No Permission Needed. How many of us know we are the operant power, the cause of our worlds, if we do not test it? Testing it radically, I mean. Remember, the outer world is a reflection of what the inner man has, is, and does in their own personal inner reality. That is you. So if we wish to have radical change, let's radically change the inner man. Give the inner man what they want. That is, radically change your own personal inner reality. Now, how do we change? Through feeling. Read Neville's words here. Arise, go down to the potter's house, and there I will let you hear my words. So I went down to the potter's house, and there he was working at his wheel. But the vessel in his hand, which he was making of clay, was spoiled. So he reworked it into another vessel, as it seemed good for the potter to do. Jeremiah 18:2-4. He didn't discard it. So someone seemed beyond repair, don't discard it. Test this power and its creativeness. There's nothing more wonderful in this world, nothing more creative in man, than to believe a thing into existence. It cannot conceive anything more wonderful than that. A quote by Neville. He did not discard it. He reworked it into what pleased him. That is you. You are the potter within. Now notice the language Neville uses. Someone beyond repair. Don't discard him or her. Rework it as it seems good to you. Test this law on those who seem beyond repair, even if you think that is yourself. This is how we know whether or not this truly works. Neville does not say, just assume something nice here and there. He instead says, dare to assume. And remember, an assumption is a feeling. So dare to feel what you want. Without doing that, you remain as you are. You want people to give you respect? Then receive it entirely in imagination first. Don't wait for someone to come along and do it. Go down to the potter's house and rework the clay. No matter how far we think we have fallen from grace, don't discard yourself. Go within, in your own personal reality, and change what you would like to what pleases you. Now, a lady wrote, saying, "This dream disturbs me greatly. In the dream, I entered an exquisite jewelry store and picked many items, among which was a beautiful green gem. Then I left without paying for the articles I took. On this level, I would never do such a thing and cannot understand why I would do it there. My dear, you should have been thrilled because you did it. On this level, you are eating of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, but you are way beyond this tree, for you are now eating of the tree of life by fulfilling the 50th Psalm. If I were hungry, I would not tell you, for the world is mine and all within it. If everything is yours, whose permission do you need to take it? As in current eyewitness, you do not function here save when you open your mortal eyes. In this world of good and evil, you would never go to Tiffany's and walk out without paying for your purchases. But as the Spirit of truth, you are feasting upon the tree of truth and error in the world that is yours. In that world, there is no need to ask permission of anyone to take anything you desire." A quote by Neville. "Everyone who thirsts, come. He who has no money, come, buy and eat. Come, buy wine, buy milk, without money, without price." Isaiah 55:1. In that world, there is no need to ask permission. What world is Neville speaking of? The personal reality within. The inner man needs no permission. The inner man does not care whether or not it is possible. So in your personal reality, your mind. Understand you need no permission to feel what you want to feel. No permission whether or not it's possible. No permission if you want to feel it deeply all the time. No permission to experience what you want. Identify yourself with the inner man who is free to do, feel, and be what they want. You can go anywhere you want and take what pleases you. It is all yours. You can never know this if you identify yourself with the outer man, the man of limitation. The inner man is infinite and can feel what he wants whenever he wants. But if you do not make it radical, from experience, there will be little to change in your mind. When you identify yourself with the inner man, what you are doing is experiencing the now in imagination. There is no need to wait to experience. And as Neville says, I may not have a dime, but in my imagination I have much. But don't just apply that to money, apply that to what you want. We all have different desires, so find what you want and experience it in your own personal reality. My imagination puts me in touch inwardly with that state. I imagine that I am actually where I desire to be. How can I tell that I am there? There's one way to prove that I am there, for what a man sees when he describes his world is, as he describes it, relative to him. So what the world looks like depends entirely upon where I stand when I make my observation. So if, as I describe my world, it is related to that point in space I imagined that I am occupying, then I must be there. I am not there physically, no, but I am there in my imagination. And my imagination is my real self. And where I go in imagination and make it real, there I shall go in flesh also. When in that state, I fall asleep. It is done. I have never seen it fail. So this simple technique upon which to use your imagination to realize your every objective. A quote by Neville. Please pay attention to what Neville says in bold there. That is, what I'm trying to get across to you. My imagination is my real self. He and I mean that literally. I'm not saying that to sound mystical. I'm being as serious as I can be, and I'm not embarrassed by it. The inner man is the real you. That is the one you need to exalt, and don't be ashamed of exalting him. Don't fear giving yourself exactly what you want in your mind. You do have control over your feelings, and you will see this with practicing this art. He is a very healthy and productive exercise for the imagination, something that you should do daily. Daily relive the day as you wish you had lived it, revising the scenes to make them conform to your ideals. For instance, suppose today's mail brought disappointing news. Revise the letter, mentally rewrite it, and make it conform to the news you wish you had received. Or suppose you didn't get the letter you wish you had received. Write yourself the letter and imagine that you have received such a letter. Another quote by Neville. Your personal inner reality is not bound by the facts of this life. In the reality within, you can go back in memory and change what you want. It is yours to change. Don't revise to what you think you should want, but to what pleases you. When Neville is speaking about revision, notice how he is telling you to do what you wish you would have liked to experience instead. This is how we revise. We change it into what is loving and pleasing to us. The mind of yours can provide you a wonderful life or a nightmare. We are the operant power. All the mind asks is, what do you want? There are those who are depressed all day long and remain that way all their life. I remember back in New York City, when I would see certain people walking in my direction, I would want to cross the street because I did not want to hear their depressing stories. They would spend hours telling about their wife or husband or children or grandchildren, and each story geared to depression. Never changing their mood, their world never changed. Seeing no change, They would not recognize a law between the inner world they maintained and the outer world of response. But if you apply this law, you can predict your future. Feel a new mood arise within you. Sustain it, and soon you will meet people who embody this new state. Even inanimate objects are under the sway of these affinities. In a certain mood, I have gone to my library and removed a book I have not touched in years. And when I casually open it, I find confirmation of my mood. A table, though remaining the same, will be seen differently based upon your momentary mood, for everything reflects it. It is your mood which decides your fortune, not your fortune that decides your mood. People feeling poor attract poverty, not knowing that if they felt rich, they would attract wealth. A quote by Neville. Never changing their inner reality through the medium of feeling, they see no change in their outer world. We do not believe this law is real until we actually have a radical change within us. Without the radical change, we will say it was a coincidence, or it should have happened anyway. But when we radically change inner worlds and we make it conform to what we want, we identify with the one within who has the thing we desire. Desire ceases and replaced with the experience of having it. This stirs within us a mood that we want to have. Since we want this mood, sustaining it becomes easier. Sustain, simply conjuring it up again in meditation one day, and it becomes easier the next and the next. Then it feels like a habit, which then turns into a character. This is how we change. Daily feel what you want to feel and experience what you want in imagination, which is your true self, the self that is reflected in front of you. Now, in order to play the game of life, you must know what you want to replace with what you have. When you know what it is, you must assume the feeling that you have it. Although your reason and senses will deny its existence, persistence will cause your assumption to harden into fact and objectify itself upon your screen of space. Play the game this way. You may think it doesn't work, but that's because you have not tried it. You may believe the idea is stupid, but I tell you, the mood decides your fortune. Believe me, for I have proved this principle over and over again in my life. Another quote by Neville. You may think it doesn't work, but that's because you have not tried it. This statement rings true to me. I thought this stuff worked here and there, but not always. I thought this was silly at times and even wanted to quit this because I simply cannot deny my experience. These moments where I see myself being reflected so beautifully, so exact in this world, there's no denying it. It is those terrible experiences I do not wish to accept that I created. However, when I keep seeing myself being reflected, I see I am simply running away from myself. I never knew it until I started doing exactly what I wanted in my inner reality. Once I started to identify myself with the inner man, I saw so many things that I did not wish to experience. I saw that I was imagining not what pleases me, but in fact what frightens me. Then I saw that when I frighten myself, I'm actually giving myself exactly what I do not want. But there, in the fear lies what I do want. And from there, I can give it to myself. So I can use my fear to simply show me what I want. I stopped fearing fear. Once I accepted that I'm doing it all within me, I was given the power to redeem my world within me. I changed what was unlovely to lovely. I raised those up who I saw down upon. I am and continue to be the savior in my own mind. Then I started to see a change, but I did not wait to do it. I did it now. This is the best time to start, right now. Raise everyone up and yourself. Give yourself all that you want. Look at the artwork and see a man abundant, but also surrounded by those who are abundant. If I only had 10 seconds to give you advice, I would say this. Do not be afraid to give yourself the greatest feeling and imaginings. Thank you for listening.